before we begin, I just want to thank in advance Dr. Bob's Home, Gail, Kassie, Mike, everybody there that helped make this happen, because it all happened after hours. We showed up, was expecting one little thing, and it turned into something else completely, which I'll explain once I officially start this thing. This is a first, you guys. According to Gail, this has never been done before. So I didn't expect that, but that's what it is. All right. So welcome to week 62 of the Anything Goes workshop. We were traveling around the Midwest last week, my wife and I. We're driving right through Akron. We're like, hey, it's only 2:30. Dr. Bob's Home doesn't close till 3. Let's go say hi to Gail and everybody. So we stopped in, and Gail was in the back house. They were up in the library. They're trying to reconstruct Dr. Bob's library. They have a list of what he had in his library. And a lot of people think that, there's that saying, he carried a big book under one arm and a Bible under the other. And I don't know if that's true or not. I just know that his library was a bit more diverse than that. When you tour the home, which is now a campus, the foundation has managed to purchase the house directly behind Dr. Bob's Home at 855 Ardmore and the house directly to the right of it. So they basically own the 3 houses on the corner, which creates a buffer so that nobody can just tear one of the other houses down and put something there, and just really just make a mess of things for this known landmark. So now Dr. Bob's Home is actually Dr. Bob's campus. There are 3 homes there. Home number 1 is the one we all know and love, 855 Ardmore. The second one is right behind it. And there is the library. They're reconstructing Dr. Bob's library, and they are pretty far into it. The third house has a gift shop, and then when Sister Ignatia stuff was gifted to them, and a whole bunch of other stuff, they needed a place to display it. So the third house has kind of become a museum that isn't Dr. Bob's Home, but it's still really cool stuff, So there's all kinds of archives there. So this has become almost it's kind of like the Smithsonian, where you got different buildings now that all have different topics. And so instead of this tour, you can now see all kinds of stuff. But I realized when I was talking to Gail, walked upstairs, I was like, do you know who I am? Do you remember me? And she's like, oh my God. And we just, hugging. It was great. It was great to see her. Blindsided her completely, because that's what I do. Anything goes. So what I wanted to do, I was hoping that I could get something from her that isn't in the normal home tour. I wanted some information that hasn't been really shared in depth before. See, when you go there and you see the library, you're not gonna want to hang out for a couple of hours. You're gonna, because it's only open for 3 hours to the public. So you look around, you go, wow, this is really cool. Okay, yeah, there's stuff here. And then, oh, look, an Ouija board. What's that? And you don't even have time to get the narrative on that, because you got to go because you want to see the rest of the stuff. So what we did was we did an almost 2-hour deep dive on the library itself. And according to Gail, this has never been done before. It's something she's wanted to do, but no one's ever shown up to do it until I showed up. And then we did it. So this is a really cool deep dive on what's in there. And I think what you're gonna, if you get anything out of this, pay attention to the unexpected. There's stuff in Dr. Bob's library that you might not expect. He was a lot more open-minded than the official AA narrative gives him credit for. But I wanted to just give you a little bit of background of what this is. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. Here we go.
It really is.
What do you have this
Well,
for?
I need to take a picture before I forget, is what we're going to do first.
We did a meeting with one of those ones. He was talking about the...
This isn't just a regular Ouija board. This planchette came from Bill's collection.
Okay.
We think.
It's a replica.
It is a replica, but it's the same era.
It's the same tray, but it didn't belong to him. We don't think.
Okay.
But it's the exact tray that they were using.
Right. Okay, so it's.
Oh my gosh, are you recording? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. This is what we need.
I'm sorry.
No, that's exactly what we need with this.
Cassie,
kind
this
of
is
thing.
the whole point.
That is the whole point. That's what
the point
this
of
is
Anything
about,
Goes
okay?
is that it's completely laid back.
Yeah.
Anything goes. That includes
So that
us
was
being
perfect.
human.
Okay.
It includes side talk. It includes banter. It includes whatever. It is so informal. It's ridiculous.
Especially when it
That's why I
comes
love
to
it.
information. We need that.
Yes.
We need the factual information. There's
And
wrong
that's-
information out there, correct it.
And
Yes,
that's
please.
side talk because everyone's trying to make their PowerPoints so perfect, and they're trying to, make their talks. Well, I want this one to be my signature talk, so I want it to be word perfect and stuff. And anything goes is about let's throw that all out the window and just have a conversation.
Totally.
And let's just talk about it.
Definitely.
Let's just talk about whatever.
Yeah,
So,
he did
are you
do one
recording
of
now?
his.
You are.
I am. I'm having fun with it.
This
I'm
is the Anything Goes workshop. I think it's week 64.
Are we starting it with all of that? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, we're starting.
All right, might as
Keeping
well.
all this on the table? I keep my library nice.
And we are not at Dr. Bob's home.
No? Where are we?
We're next door. We're next door, and I'd like you to meet a couple people. This is Cassie,
Hi, Cassie.
Hey.
and this is Gail.
Hi, everybody. I wish I could see you. You can see me, but I can't see you.
It's all good. They've all-
Cassie and Gail, please tell us a little bit about who you are so that people who have never met you before or people who might be new to the meeting can get to know who you are before we start this conversation.
Well, my name's Gail, and I'm from Akron. I got sober in Akron in 1978, and I got active. And one of the things that happened to me was I became a member of the Akron central office here, the intergroup office. And while I was on that board, I was asked to host Lois Wilson, because Lois Wilson was still coming to Akron for Founders Day. And she was coming with her companions, and I didn't know how to host anybody. I'd never been hosted myself. So I said, what should I do? And they said, well, just seat Lois and her companions. Well, we used to have a Founders Day breakfast, so I put Lois up at the dais with Barry. She came in with Barry L. And as I'm going to seat the rest of the companions, a woman came up to me and she said, hello, my name is Nell Wing. And I was with Bill for 18 years as he was writing the 12 and 12 and I was in the office. And I was the first archivist. Well, my eyes popped out of my head, rolled around a couple times, and then went back in.
Right?
Because it was like, oh my, you know how you would be if you met Nell Wing. It was enough that I was seating Lois. Well, there was an empty seat next to Nell. So I sat down next to her.
Oh, clever, clever.
All you have to, if any of you want to have this happen to you, all you have to do is turn your life and your will over in the third step and then buckle up. Isn't that right?
Don't
Yes.
ever turn down an opportunity to sit next to,
Right.
Nell
Well,
Wing.
there happened to be an empty seat.
or anyone else for that matter.
So I sat down with her, and she was going to get me a signed book. Lois Remembers had just come out, and everybody was shoving. I mean, Lois was so frail, and she was so tiny in her wheelchair that I did not want to shove a book. I just felt that was assaulting her. And she said that she would get me a signed book of Lois Remembers. And I said, oh, Nell, thank you so much. If there's ever anything I can do for you, just ask. I don't know how many people are out there in the audience tonight, but I'm going to warn you, don't say that unless you mean it.
Right.
Right. And I did say that earlier today, so I'm in trouble.
So what happened is that she said, yes, Gail, there is. I'd like you to start an archives. Well, Akron didn't even know. I didn't know what that was. I had no idea what an archives was. I thought it was some stinky papers in Washington, right? I wasn't that. I mean, I got sober in '78. This is '84 when this happened. So I'm not that familiar with much. But I felt when you turn your life and your will over, we're supposed to say yes to what Alcoholics Anonymous. That's what the old timers taught me.
Never turn down a request.
Right? You say yes. So even though I didn't know what I was getting into, I said yes. And then the real thing happened. Right after that, I got involved in negotiating the purchase of Dr. Bob's home. And that was also 1984. And I thought, okay, Nell, we got this. Now I'll have the house, and I'll have property, and I'll have money, and we'll have prestige. Easy peasy. So I flew off to New York. And I called her up and I said, Nell, okay, we have the house and now I need to learn how to be an archivist. So I flew to New York, and do you know that beautiful woman took me into her apartment, and I stayed with her that entire time and got the education of a lifetime.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a Curtis Mathis. Remember the old Curtis Mathis? They're like bowling balls, the two-piece equipment. I loved that with me, and I filmed her.
That kind of access. Wow.
I know.
Rare.
I know. I'm speaking to the choir here.
Yeah, I'm shaking right now. I'm like, whoa, that's hardcore.
So I set up the tripod, and I set up the Curtis Mathis, and I'm in her living room, and we're having this discussion. And I said, okay, now that we have the house, I'm going to be an AA archivist. And she said, Gail, if you want to be an AA archivist, AA can't own property. You have to make up your mind. Do you want to be an archivist for a foundation or an archivist for AA? And she began to explain to me her experience. Now, if this isn't a God thing, I don't know what is. Because you see, who better to train me than Nell Wing? Because Nell Wing was our first archivist at GSO.
That's right.
And she was putting together the archives there. And she could show me the difference. That what belonged to Bill and his writings belonged at the General Service Office. And what belonged to Stepping Stones was Bill's personal writing. And that is the way you divide it up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I came back to Akron, they weren't too interested in that. In fact, the old timers, when I came back to the house, I said, look, if we're going to do this, this has to just be the Smiths. The whole house was created for the Smith family. And they said, this is Akron now. Screw New York, we're Akron.
I had no idea they had that kind of an attitude towards New
Well,
York.
not everybody, but this particular old timer did. So, in 1985, okay, we're going to have fun.
Oh,
you
yeah,
having
we
fun
are.
yet? Okay.
We're going to have fun.
1985, we open the house, okay, and I leave. Because I decided that I didn't understand what was going on this side of the tracks. A foundation is far different than AA. And I said, okay, I'm going to be an AA archivist. I want to put it under the 3 legacies of Alcoholics Anonymous. So I gathered up the old timers in Akron, and we started having monthly meetings on everything you ever wanted to know about archives that Nell had taught me. And when we came up on the 50th, 1985, I did a display. And I wanted to put it up for Founders Day. It's our 50th. And so I called the Founders Day committee, and I said, I need some tables. We had a 8-panel foam core display and 3 display cases. And I called them up, and I said, they give me some tables. They said they'd give me tables. But when it came time for the tables, they were giving me 2. I had 8 boards and 3 cases. And I took that kind of hard. I don't know if any of you are victims out there, but I'm a recovering victim, and I took it kind of hard. So instead, I took it to King's School. And at King's School here in Akron is Bob and Ann's. It's the mother group. It's AA group number 1, and it was Bob and Ann's group. It's now called King's School Group. And I said, would you like to see it? And they said, I know this one question is going on, but
Right.
we're going to keep...
it still meets, right?
I'm still going to go with it. All right, so I spread it across the stage. And people came up to it, and they read it. And they came up to me, and they said, thank you, Gail. It's a wonderful thing you've done. And I said, if you think it's so wonderful, would you mind calling the Founders Day Committee and getting me some tables?
Because they don't think it's that important.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
So I got the tables, but where they put them up was in the beginning room where you come in the hospitality room. And it all packed up into my little sports car. And it would all expand with these foam core things. I still have pictures of
Well,
it.
that's clever.
It was very well designed, really. I had a graphic artist help me with it.
Oh, nice.
Akron was not keen on the idea, and here's why. We're supposed to carry the message. What are you doing, Gail? We're supposed to carry the message. I said I'm carrying the message from one generation to another. And I'm pretty sure you understand that.
Absolutely.
So, but they thought carrying the message was answering the phone because we're a 12-step town. That's all we did. We did not take care of the history. We were busy at St. Thomas Hospital. When I came in 78, I was going out a couple nights a week on 12-step calls.
Absolutely.
And if we couldn't find a bed, you brought them into your house, right? That's what Akron. Bill's organizing, Akron's 12-stepping. It's pretty simple. So it evolved after that for the next 10 years, I would be setting it up at Founders Day. And then one day the Akron office asked me what I would do if they gave me an empty supply room. To which I carried an Apple IIe
Fill
into
it
the
up.
boardroom.
I fill it up.
Nature abhors the vacuum.
Especially an empty supply room.
Yes.
It's meant to be a supply room, not empty.
It was the old office, right?
Right.
So anyway, that's a whole nother story. I'm not going to go into that, but I will tell you that at one point, this Dr. Bob's house collapsed. It was nobody from Akron was on the board, and nobody pretty much knew what was happening, and pretty soon it just collapsed. And a friend of mine and I were asked to come down if we would pick up the baton and take it over. And he looked at me, his name was Harmon, and he looked at me and he said, Gail, I'll do it if you do it with me. So now, that brings us up to where we are now. We are not in Dr. Bob's house, but we just talked about how nature abhors a vacuum. I want to welcome you to Dr. Bob's Library and Research Center. Now, just like at the other place, I say, if you build the crib, the baby will come.
Yep.
We built these shelves long before it became what it is today. But I think it's the law. I think the old timers knew about the law. And I want Kassie to introduce herself before we start here, because she's been my right-hand person working on inventory. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of books here, a lot of information. So Kassie, you can say hello if you want.
Yeah,
Please.
real quick. My name is Kassie, and I'm an alcoholic that just took the empty chair next to Gail. So
Nice.
I'm gonna let that go so I can hear the rest of what you have to say. I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, this story is amazing.
Well, I'm really appreciative of any support, because what I'd like to tell you is, if you could stand here with us right now, you would feel the energy and the content of the material that's in here.
Go
ahead.
I may interject for just 1 second. She's not kidding. There is an energy in this room. You walk through it, you almost feel like you're walking through a spider web of threads in a good way. You can feel just... It's beyond English, isn't it? I mean, there's just like not a word for it.
I have a person who
It's
collects
strong.
books that donated a lot, and I said, what does it feel like to be in here? And he looked at me and he said, a little bit of heaven. A little bit of heaven.
Yeah.
Seeker's
And by the way, the reason I'm not all dressed up, this is totally spontaneous.
I blindsided her too, you guys. The same way I blindside you every week. I blindsided her too.
We were working in here, dusting shelves and taking inventory, and in walks Tom, and now we're powwowing with you. So there you go. That's got to be some slender threads with some synchronicity.
I was open-minded to a no. I mean, we're busy or not even here or out of town. I mean, I just rolled in and said, God, whatever's supposed to happen, please let it happen. And here we are.
Which is kind of a dangerous combination, don't you guys think?
Definitely.
Yes, terrible.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well,
Terror team here. We've already figured out some
Like-minded.
evil plans that
Yes.
we have. That we've got plans.
well, let's start out with the first case. This is case A. Case A is going to go back in time a little bit to a period of time that both our co-founders walked when there was no cure to alcoholism. Yes, Women's Christian Temperance Union had some ideas about it, and you can jump in anytime you want.
Carrie Nation
Oh,
era, things like that.
Carrie Nation, the
Carrie
gal-
was a sweetheart.
Wasn't she with a hatchet? She'd go into
With a
bars
hatchet.
and chop. Well, she was so garbed up, she looked like a nun.
And nobody would stop her. A,
Nobody stopped her.
female. B, what is going on? C, she got in and out really quick. She got really good at swinging that hatchet. She got really good at it.
She's such a character.
Yep.
But we do know a little bit about the Emmanuel movement, don't we? Because we know, actually, that a guy by the name of Courtney Baylor was part of the Emmanuel movement. The Emmanuel movement is interesting because it's taking therapy and blending it with spirituality. And that is such a forerunner of the Oxford group, don't you think?
I agree. I think that without the Emmanuel movement, I don't know if the Oxford group would have been exactly the way it was. I think Buckman especially probably was pretty into what the Emmanuel movement was doing in terms of their philosophies.
I don't know that for sure because I don't have any evidence of that.
I don't
now.
have evidence of it either, but I do have a lot of conjecture that seems to point in that direction, and it's one of my fields of studies, is I'm trying to connect the two. Because there's so many similarities that it doesn't make sense that they would be wholly disconnected. I just haven't found the connection
Well, and I'm
yet.
pretty sure Dr. Bob and Bill struggling with alcoholism would be aware of what's going on in the field of alcoholism.
You would think, yeah.
Or with these movements at that time, because
Yeah.
they're looking for a cure too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know that, we know a little bit about the pledge, and there's the Bible with Bill. He puts his name in the family Bible 4 times pledging. So you got a little of the
I
pledge.
really mean it this time, Lois.
Yeah, I am through with it forever. I am finished with it forever, yeah. How many of us have made those types of pledges? The third shelf has some beautiful books, and for those of you that can see these early, I'm upside down, sort of like somebody else I know.
Me.
Me too.
You've definitely talked about this book already.
I have the
before.
first printing of that
Isn't
one.
it
It's much
beautiful?
smaller, the 1848 version. This is
That
the
is
1871.
gorgeous.
You want to tell them about it? Because you're pretty familiar with what's in here.
This is basically the Washingtonian Big Book. It even includes a chapter called the Experience Meeting, which is their meeting format. It's exactly how they had what they called experience meetings, which is strikingly similar to the way we have our speaker meetings today. It's just instead of thanking the speaker afterwards, you'd walk up and take a pledge, sign a pledge, and take a pledge against alcohol.
Do you want me to tell them what I taught you earlier today?
Yeah, please
All
do.
right, so in the pledge, and in fact, we have a pledge right outside the door. Do you ever hear a teetotaler? You've heard that word, I'm a teetotaler? Because when they took the pledge, when they put a T down, that meant you were totally off everything, including ale. All these beautiful, beautiful books here are temperance books written by T.S. Arthur, 10 Nights in a Bar Room, and they're just beautiful.
Yeah, those are gorgeous.
Such a
And
beautiful
we're still
collection.
trying to understand him. I don't think he liked alcoholism too much. He might have demonized it a bit, but he was a very popular author at that time.
And 10 Nights in a Bar Room, I mean, how many times have they remade that over the years?
Right.
From stage to film.
We just recently got this book. I've been trying to understand these early missions. There was the Jerry McCauley mission, and a gentleman by the name of Samuel Hadley got sober through an experience at this mission. The interesting thing that I'm finding out about Samuel Hadley, and if anybody corrects me, please feel free. I'm still a novice historian on this.
I'm extremely novice on him as well.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Samuel Hadley is in varieties of religious experiences. And it's interesting because Carl Jung did know about William James. And I don't know if I can prove it or not, but I think it's highly likely that when he was talking to Roland, when Roland thought he was getting a death sentence and he's begging him, please, is there nothing? And he said, well, I've heard of someone that got sober through a spiritual experience.
Yeah, this thing, I don't know, because it's out of my wheelhouse, but,
Right.
yeah.
Well, that could be Samuel Hadley. Well, Samuel Hadley starts his own mission down in Water Street. And he has a son who ends up working, actually started he's at the Calvary mission. Now that we're at the third mission we're talking about, that's the mission where Evie is. And that's the mission where Bill comes to make his altar call.
Okay.
Looking for Evie. So as you work with this material that's in here, it's all here to start connecting dots. I've learned, the books are like talking to me. They're teaching me.
Hadley, Hadley, for those of you who want to look him up. Samuel H. Hadley, Hadley. Another rabbit hole.
Yeah, for all you
Deep
rabbits.
Yep.
We encourage you guys to
And
help
we
with the
encourage
research.
everyone listening to this or watching this, as always, every week, go down one of these rabbit holes if we mention it, or and help us understand it. We're all in this together.
I belong to a history group on Sunday nights, and it's so fun because they're all historians. And they all are being filmed with their big libraries behind them. And when we start talking about these rabbit hole things, it's like kindergarten, show and tell. They run and get the pamphlet, or they run and get the document, or they run and get And it is like rabbit holes. We'll just read.
He does that.
Yeah.
He does that.
We'll read a couple paragraphs, and the next thing you know, we're down the rabbit hole. So I know exactly what we're talking about here. I'm a rabbit too.
Yay!
This is not a total library of, but it's a nice flavoring of temperance. And what we've done here is, you want to talk? So
A lot of these you will have recognized from the Mike Fitzpatrick
That's
stream
right.
that we did as
Yeah,
well.
Mike's got some, but this is a good one here. No, by all means, please, Gail, because you.
well, the difference is we had to figure out we had to separate temperance from prohibition. Because I didn't know until I started doing some AI stuff and figuring out what periods of time these things took place, so that the books on this shelf primarily have to do with prohibition.
Right, because they do overlap a lot, and the movements were slightly different. One more political than the other.
Well, this is a government thing.
Right.
And this is more. This is just more anti-alcoholism, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Prohibition.
Now,
That's a whole other rabbit
interesting.
hole.
Now that we're talking about prohibition, we're moving over to bookcase B. But we have a little story on prohibition. You see, Dr. Bob thought, "Yay, prohibition! That'll stop my drinking." And then they came out and said that doctors could order alcohol.
Yep.
And here's one of the prescription pads that they would have used to get alcohol.
There was all kinds of loopholes, industrial uses, wink, wink, and other things like that.
Yeah, it didn't stop. It didn't go as planned. When the government allowed doctors to have alcohol, that stopped his plan.
Right there. Nope, behind, third shelf down. You can hit that light if you'd like. Yep, third shelf down. Yep,
Where is it?
other
It's
side.
inside.
Yep.
Oh, on this side. Oh,
Yeah.
back there. There
All
you
right,
go.
there you go, you guys. Well, no, I got this.
There you go. Now you got it.
I'm trying.
All right.
We're
Does everybody
trying.
see that?
Look how far they're going for you guys.
All right. You can screenshot if you want to look at it later.
There
Okay.
you go. All right. All right, lights back on, guys.
Okay. The second, B2, because these are all numbered and indexed, B2 just has some sweet books on John Barleycorn. The famous one is by Jack London.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess barley and corn goes into making alcohol. Do you think that's why they call it John Barleycorn?
Could be. Could have something to do with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, you're fun.
So are you.
Thank you.
So are you.
So for 4.5 years, we're not Alcoholics Anonymous here in Akron. We're flying blind. There's a flying blind period where we're really a subgroup of the Oxford group. We're called the Alcoholic Squad. You see, but we couldn't sit still for the meditation, so Dr. Bob would take him into the upper room and he would get the surrenders. He's the prince of 12 steppers. But basically what happened is there was a group that formed inside the Oxford group called the Alcoholic Squad, which became group number 1 in Alcoholics Anonymous, which happens to be my home group today. It's still going on.
Awesome.
And so we think it's very important here to be focused on the Oxford group. All 12 steps came from the Oxford group. Now, step 1, obviously, you need to tweak a little bit. They knew about surrender and powerlessness, but the one thing is the Oxford group was all things to all people.
Mm-hmm.
And what Dr. Bob and Bill did in the months that Bill stayed here, in that summer into the fall, after they had the meeting at the Gate Lodge, he's going to move into the Portage Country Club down the street, and then Ann Smith is going to invite him into the home. Those two men are going to go late into the night over a humble kitchen table with a pot of coffee. And they're going to take the Oxford group principles, and they're going to boil them down and construct them in a very specialized program for the alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
They knew what would work and what wouldn't work. So it isn't just what they took from the Oxford group, which was the 12 steps. It's also what they left out.
So it would be fair to say they came up with a procedure.
Yeah, some of it. Well, what they knew that they were too rigid. Alcoholics weren't going to handle that. They were always chasing us around to see if we were maximum or not.
Right.
They would come into your bathroom because the upper room was a Methodist. If there's any Methodists in the group, Your upper room came out at the exact time we needed it, which was the spring of 35. The wives and the families were as much a part of AA as were the alcoholics. And Mama Galbraith, the mother of the fourth man in, would drop these meditation books off called The Upper Room, and then the Oxford group would come into your bathroom and see if you had it open to the right day. Alcoholics. It was.
I didn't mean like a codified procedure because, right?
I think the 12 steps are codified.
They are, but we're talking about back in the Oxford group day when they built and they sat down, distilled this. They
That's
came
a
up
good
with
word.
a procedure.
That's a good word.
But it was loose. It was a loose procedure. I'm like, you gotta surrender. You gotta,
Well, Bill
make
wrote those 6
restitution.
steps first, right?
Right, in 1948.
But those were not Oxford group steps.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that came later. This was more of a, how do we fix the drugs and this, then this, then this.
This was not about drunks at all.
Okay, but then I'm missing something.
Oxford group was all things to all people. Bob and Bill made it for drunks.
That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
They took it
Yeah.
and they distilled it down.
Yes.
Distilled the right word.
It's a good
talk
word.
about alcohol.
It's a good word.
Into something that the drunks could use.
Right. Because they knew. Bill knew the alcoholic.
Yes.
He really had a gift for that. He could reach into the cave of the alcohol. I think he's a mystic. That's just my opinion. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, in more ways than one.
Right.
Actually.
I mean, he was.
That's another rabbit hole.
Yeah. Stay tuned. More is going to be.
I've already done talks on that
Didn't
part
we
too.
start the video on that?
Yeah.
This is one of the major
A.J. Russell.
textbooks. This you're going to find a lot of this language in the big book. This book is going to influence Bill in the writing of the book.
Mm-hmm. And God Calling and God at Eventide, well, to a lesser extent, also became the middle section of 24 Hours a Day, almost verbatim. There they are. And A.J. Russell compiled them. These 2 books were supposedly channeled by 2 listeners, 2 women who are to this day anonymous, who claim that they got these through automatic writing. And AJ put them together, and then later Richmond Walker from Daytona Beach Group, when he wrote 24 Hours a Day, the middle section is basically just a rewritten God Calling of the same day. You can actually A-B them
That's
and
right.
see a lot of it in there.
That's
and,
right.
he tried to turn that into something for alcoholics too.
And this book is about the 2 listeners. When Mike was here,
And
he
I'm
pulled
going to
this
admit
out.
I did not know about this. I did not know about this book. Healing His Wings.
Mike pulled it out and he put it here and he rearranged my shelf.
And he went, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I didn't know
You know,
something.
I don't, and by the way, this is a signed book by Frank Buchmann here, but it's in German, so I don't think it's got a whole lot of it. I can pull it out so you can see the signature if you want.
Beautiful.
07, November 26th, 07, 1907. Wow.
Okay, so
Wow.
I'm gonna pull a little of this out. We got time, right?
Oh, okay.
yeah.
We got time. All right, how's my audience doing there? How you guys doing?
Loving
All right?
it.
All right.
Loving it.
Oh, they're jumping for joy right now. I'm telling you, this is
Well,
great.
this is a copy of the only magazine that the Oxford Group ever put out.
And it was the only issue too, right?
Yes. Yes.
They only put out 1 issue of
Yes. Oh, I have one other book that I have to tell you about. Okay.
Volume 1, number 1.
This one I have.
Yeah.
You want to hear a
Let me do
great
that again.
story? You ready for a story?
I
All right.
love it.
All right. So after Nell asked me to start an archives, we didn't have anything. Akron hadn't kept any history. I don't know what to put in an archives. I happened to be down the street at the Cyberling Mansion where we're holding an Ohio Mart. And there was a tent behind the gate lodge. There's a tent.
Oh,
And I
really?
said,
Okay.
I walked into the tent and I said, they're having book sales. I said, do you have any old AA books? And they said, no. And I said, well, do you have any spiritual books? And they said, yes. And my hand went across this little blue book. And I opened it up.
You
And
got
it
a copy
said-
of... Oh, okay.
It said,
I'm not blowing it for
it said, R.H. Smith, 855 Ardmore, his book, Please Return.
Well, she returned it.
I did. But this isn't the one. I did return it.
Well, no, you
But,
can't have that one.
It's behind glass. There's books behind glass in the fireplace at 855. It's on the second shelf, but that's not the rest of the story. I tried to get them down to a quarter, but they made me pay 35 cents for this book. Actually, the book found me.
Yeah, it did.
The book, I know you guys understand that. Any of you that have done any spiritual work at all,
Oh, absolutely.
the book
They
found
just fall
me.
out of the sky
First,
sometimes.
Nell asked me to do it, then I get this, right? And then I end up negotiating the purchase on Dr. Bob's home. All these little things like dominoes started to fall. So I wanted to share that with you. It's also
Wow.
it's also the textbook of the Oxford group.
Yeah.
But they
So
had
that
a
book, I'm sorry, real quick, just so that they can see.
okay.
So in case people want to find it, you can download this in PDF too, and it's on History Lovers. What is the Oxford Group by the Layman with a Notebook? It's all you need to know. Oxford University Press, easy to find. This is critical reading. If you don't read anything else about the Oxford Group, at least read this. Okay?
We're doing good together.
Well, maybe for any of the people that are searching that, there's one that's what is the Oxford Group and Practice These Principles. It's 2 pamphlets that they published together, so
Hazelden.
you can get 2
That's
for
a
1 if you
Hazelden
find that one.
publication.
Yeah.
So when Mike ended up gifting us this, I cried when I got this.
Oh, soul surgery, yeah.
Isn't that what the 12 steps is? Well,
That's what chapter 7 is in the big book.
to me, working a good 12-step program is soul surgery. And so this is a pretty fragile document that we have here, along with other pamphlets. Another important pamphlet was sharing, like giving witness. Don't we stand up at meetings and give testimony to what God has done for us?
Exactly what we're
That
doing.
comes from the that
And I'm going
comes
to
from.
almost touch this. Thank you.
Well, because people can't touch it, we have this book. Sometimes I will order a book so that people can actually sit down and handle something that's too fragile, maybe. But in here is the 5 C's of the Oxford Group.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in Ann Smith's workbook. You'll find a lot of the 5 C's. Very important to Ann Smith was the 5 C's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then the Oxford Group came to town. Some of you, how many know what happened in January of 33? What happened at
I don't think, well, there's one person on there, initials KE, who might know, but I don't.
Okay. The Oxford Group's going to come to town because I'm going to pull out this book here. Harvey Firestone's son, whose nickname was Russell.
You want to come around here so you can see things right side up, sweetie?
Okay.
Erin's our wonderful camera.
Yeah, all that jiggling is my fault.
All right, so this gentleman, there's a gentleman by the name of Jim Newton. And Jim Newton was chasing pretty girls. And he thought, he was young, 20 years old, and he thought that he would join them.
That's Thomas Edison.
And he thought he would join them for a singles dance. And he followed them into a hotel in Massachusetts. Only he followed him into an Oxford group. So he became a grouper.
Nice.
He ends up down in Fort Myers, Florida, and he is going to be helping Thomas Edison, who's in Fort Myers, develop real estate. And next to Thomas Edison is Henry Ford. Well, Harvey Firestone, as you can see from this picture here, you have Harvey and you have Ford and you have Edison. Well, Jimmy's there and Harvey takes a liking to him and he brings him to Akron to groom him for a big position in the company. Now, this is Mr. Firestone and this is his several sons. This one here is a terrible alcoholic. And his name is Russell or Bud Firestone. Now, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Bud back together again because Bud, they just couldn't help him. And, Harvey's got all the money in the world, all the power, all the money, but money won't buy sobriety, will it?
No, it won't.
So what happens is Jimmy becomes friends with Bud, and he says, look, I want to help you. He had even gone away to treatment with him. I want to help you. He says, the Oxford group is meeting in Denver. And he said, why don't you come with me and meet them? Well, Bud said, okay. But he wanted Jimmy to help him with controlled drinking on the way there. So that's what happened on the way. On the way coming back, Sam Shoemaker is on the train. I know.
Really?
Slender threads. They pull him into the train car. And some soul surgery took place. He gets down on his knees because that's how they were making surrenders. Now, when he gets off the train in Akron, the family comes to pick him up, he's not the same guy. The lines on his forehead are gone. He was not a very good member of the company. He's not a very good husband to his beautiful wife. And he becomes and for those of you that might know the prodigal son story, what does the father do? What did the
Welcomes
father
him
do?
home.
And what else?
Throws a party.
Throws a party. You know where that party? You know where the party took place?
No, where?
Mayflower Hotel.
Mayflower Hotel.
January of 33. It's newly opened.
Wow.
It's only a year and a half old.
It's not the only hotel in Akron, so this is pretty interesting that it would be there.
Yes. Here's a picture of Russell with Frank Bookman.
Wow.
I know. Thanks for the wow. Anybody out there saying wow? I love wows.
Well, I certainly am.
So here is a newspaper clippings. I think Dick B has the original ones, but these are a copy of a book that he made. All of our society, look at the furs and the diamonds. I don't know if you can pick that up, but they come out to welcome them at the train station, and the newspaper runs all these articles on the group coming to Akron.
Well, it really stormed Akron, didn't it?
Yes, because they had the dinner for 400. And then for the next 10 days, morning and night, they're going to have house parties. And guess who's going to attend those house
That's
parties?
what they were called, by the way. They called them house parties.
Yeah.
Now, whoopee parties?
Plain
They met
ordinary
in
whoopee
houses.
parties came later.
You are.
In Oxford. They literally called them house parties. Yes.
I'm pretty sure they were filling the pulpits up in all the churches too, weren't they?
They went out into the
spread out.
they went out into the pulpits of the churches, and they
Like wildfire.
Yeah,
yes,
it was.
yes, and so but what's important is from that comes Anne and Henrietta being involved, and then they go get Dr. Bob. Now Dr. Bob is down and out. Things are tough.
Yeah, Anne was the strong Oxford grouper, right? Dr. Bob didn't really like
No,
it,
I'm getting
or
ready.
am I wrong about
I'm getting
that?
ready to tell you.
Okay, I'm
because
gonna be
in
quiet.
19
I want to hear it.
in
You can't hear
1930
it if I don't stop talking, right?
in 1933 this happens. What's going on? A depression's going on. Okay. So picture Dr. Bob being an alcoholic, being depressed. They're ready to foreclose. Things are bad, rough.
Mhm.
So Henrietta and Anne get involved at those meetings at the hotel.
Okay.
But then they go get Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob is going to do something you can't believe. He swore he'd never go back to church. He comes into the Oxford group and he goes back to church. He changed his mind. He read the Bible a couple times.
Anne didn't drag him in?
Both women put pressure on him.
Okay.
But it was in 33. It was right after the Oxford group has a
Right.
group conscience, which they were using group conscience.
Okay.
And they leave and they start meeting in homes here.
Oh, okay.
And Dr. Bob, for the next 2.5 years, is going to try and get sober through the Oxford group. With all of our principles. Wonder why he didn't get sober. If it's all of our principles, and he's going to meetings, and he's praying, and he's reading the literature, and he's going back to church, and he's reading the Bible, why didn't Dr. Bob get sober?
Because it's not enough.
Well, one time he called up Henrietta, who lives just down the street from here, and he said, Henrietta, who is very good at guidance. Now, guidance is so important. I want to just briefly from this point on kind of tell you, because all these books are going to be about guidance, and there's the Oxford group was into this guidance thing. The most important thing you did, and that was true for me when I came in 78, was that morning quiet time. It was more important than a meeting. And they would get up in the morning and they would say a prayer, and then they would read either from the Bible or the upper room. Ann Smith, I think, was just the Bible, Book of James, closing with faith without works is dead, or God is love.
And she often did it too. She was often the reader.
Yeah, Bill would be making the coffee. Yeah, she led the meetings, and so did Henrietta. Okay?
Got it.
Then what they would do, and this is so important for the history that we're talking about and how the history actually came to be. They would sit after that, they read from the devotionals or the Bible, then they sat in quiet for guidance. That's where two listeners came. That's where the listening part comes in, with pencil and paper. And then we don't go it alone. So after you have that written down, if you're in a group, you share. If you're not and you do it individually, the Oxford group had partners. And the partners were like sponsors. I mean, not really all like sponsors, but you did your checking with them, like you check in with a sponsor to see if your voice is coming, that you're writing down, if that's coming from your ego that likes to dress up as the higher power, or the Holy Spirit.
Which is kind of what step 5 sorts out now. God, yourself, and another human being who understands.
Yes.
We have to have that in order to solve problems, and that stays true forever. That's the deal we make at step 5.
Right.
This seems to me like the rudimentary beginnings of what became step 5 and on in step 10.
Right.
We discuss it with someone immediately on 84 of the book. So this is cool.
But they ran it across the 4 words. Now, when we're talking about flying blind, we did not have 12 steps until the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous comes out in April 39. We only have 4 words: honesty, purity, unselfishness, and love. But you don't understand those words unless you understand the 4 questions. These were the yardsticks that Bob was using.
The 4 absolutes.
Is what I'm about to think, say, or do, right or wrong, true or false, ugly or beautiful, and how does it affect the other guy? Now you can do that in a split second.
Sure.
And you can really learn a lot.
Great spot inventory.
So what I wanted to show you was this. So what came before the 4 absolutes? So we know that Bookman, they were key. They came from the Principles of Jesus by Spear. They got picked up by Henry Wright, whose book is over here, but I have.
They're actually mentioned in this book by name, not the 4 absolute.
I love this guy. This guy is Henry B. Wright, but listen to the title of his book, The Will of God and a Man's Life Work. Is that beautiful? Is that not Alcoholics Anonymous? The Will of God and Man's Life. Yeah. That's us.
In a nutshell.
So these 4 absolutes get passed down to Frank Bookman and then, of course, to Dr. Bob. And that's all we were using. But the interesting thing, guys, is that you should see the success rate that they were having with 4 words.
It was above 75%.
A lot higher than what we've got today with all the material that we have. It's pretty amazing. I want to just go back to this Jim Newton for just a second, because the title of his book, I think it's out of print, but I do want to tell you that Jim Newton, I got to talk to him on the phone one time, and he sent me his book, and he signed it, The Best Is Yet to Come. I love that.
Ain't that the truth?
He's one of my favorite characters.
That is a good book. We're blessed with a copy.
Yes, because really, if you take away Jim Newton, the whole thing falls apart. But he wrote this book called Uncommon Friends. His friends were Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Harvey Firestone, Alex Carell. I'm walking over here.
Another rabbit hole.
Because
this is a room full of rabbit holes.
That's right. This, we ought to call this room the rabbit hole.
This is like Bunny City in here, you know.
So Alex
Send you a plaque now.
Alex Carell
Bunny
wrote
City.
Bunnies on it.
this book, Man the Unknown,
The rabbit hole.
that
room.
influenced Bill quite a bit. I think Bill mentions this guy in his Yale talks, but it also influenced him on the writing of the big book. So we have it on that shelf. And he won a Pulitzer Prize, I think, or something, for blood transfusions in World War I believe.
This was what, around 1912, 1910, 1912.
You want to look at it and see? I don't know if you're going to look in there and see.
I believe it was
But I have one more person I want to talk about, and that's Charles Lindbergh.
Well, this one's 1935, but I know it was written before then.
They should have the original version.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
1912 is when he won the Nobel for it. So it was leased out around then. So
Yeah, but
right around that time.
this book is about the size and the same paper as the big book.
Yeah.
Anyway, one more person for Uncommon Friends. It's Charles Lindbergh. See, Charles Lindbergh was friends with all of them, and he would fly over and tip a wing. And Charles Lindbergh was in Jim's wedding. But Jim married a gal by the name of Ellie, and Eleanor Ford, and she wrote a pamphlet called The Guidance of God. And that is a very important pamphlet. And she and Jimmy lived to almost 100-something down in Fort Myers.
Well, then
Wonderful people.
they were onto something good.
Yes. So, all right. So let's talk for a minute about the writing of the big book. You can bring the camera over this way so you can capture this shelf here. We have a shelf here for people to learn about the books that went into the writing of the big book. Our Believing World by Lewis Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, some
Peabody.
people say we got traditions from that.
Yeah.
Common Sense of
Partially.
Drinking by Peabody.
That book was so popular in the 1930s. It was ridiculous, but Peabody didn't.
He didn't make it, did he? No. Well, there's some confusion whether he did or he didn't.
Well, he died in the late 30s,
Okay.
1939 anyway. But we don't know from what. We'll just
Okay.
give him the benefit of
It's
the
hard to see this book, but it's another for sinners only. A.J. Russell was big. Varieties of religious experiences we know is very important to the big book and to what was going on.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about Man the Unknown. Everybody in AA still loves Sermon on the Mount. This book has never left us.
It's a great break.
It's never left us. And it's new thought. It's metaphysics. So when you think of Bob reading the Bible, since this was so important to Bob and Bill, he's reading the Bible metaphysically.
Absolutely.
Because he talks about the golden key.
Yep.
And the golden key is to let all your reading be guided. And if you look at Ann Smith's journal,
yep.
but we're going to do a bookmark here. When you come up, you're going to get a bookmark. And it's going to say on it, let all your reading be guided on behalf of Ann Smith.
Right next to Drummond.
Right next to The Greatest Thing in the World by Drummond. If you look in Dr. Bob and the Good Old Timers, he prescribes this like a prescription to a woman that she's to read this for 30 days. This was a big favorite of
It's one of the
Bob's.
greatest books in the world, too.
It is. It is. And so we have another New Thought. Now, New Thought was going on at that time. I was actually looking for James Allen, The Greatest Thing in...
It's another thing to look up, you guys. New Thought. It was a movement.
Yes, and it would be called New Age today.
Mm.
But this is As a Man Thinketh, another very important book that is a New Thought book.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we think we came up with this in our generation, but wait till we get to bookcase
Every
C.
generation thinks they thought of this, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
then they don't want to hear the old generations
Yeah.
explain to them that, no, you didn't.
Here's Twice Born Men
Yeah.
by Begbie, an Oxford group writer.
Yeah.
Now they're talking about twice born. Because what I've come to understand, and Shoemaker talks about twice born ministers, they use this term because some of us, like me, maybe you, did get born the first time. We had to be born again. We did not get it the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about what is the Oxford group book. I've told you about that. And of course the Bible. That was something that they were using. This book I don't know much about yet. A Way of Life by a man by the name of Osler, O-S-L-E-R.
Yeah, I am not very familiar with that one either.
But it does seem to, our historians from before, the Jim Blair guys,
Yeah,
they're the
maybe
ones
someone-
that talked about that.
Okay.
Okay, then here is the books that in the very first manual that I actually have on my desk. But Dr. Bob,
got to see it.
Dr. Bob thought that the big book was too hard for the blue-collar worker to read. We're a rubber town. And so he said to his friend Evan Williams, who was a writer, and it's basically the mind of Bob. There's 5 pamphlets And I know that he was the leader and he's the one that pretty much dictated these. And then Evan wrote them. And so I'm telling you about one, but in the very first one that we just got from Mike, thank you, Mike, we were able to find the titles of the books that came from that pamphlet. Now, probably what would be most interesting with Sermon on the Mount, it's As a Man Thinketh Again, but I did want to share this one with you.
Real quick, a quick question.
Yeah.
About the pamphlet. Doesn't Akron Intergroup sell like a packet where you can get all 5
all
of them?
5, and
You
so
can do
does
that
Dr.
now.
Bob's House.
And Dr. Bob's home sells
Yes.
them as well. So you can order them online from them.
Nice plug.
Nice plug is right.
I'm always going to try to bring help here. That's my goal.
How's our audience doing? Are they still paying? Are they still with us?
Oh yeah. They'll stay
right.
with us all night.
Now, this is
Necessary.
the book. Now,
Because-
Tom is going to be drooling, so somebody might want to get a napkin. That's
Can I
like,
drool on this carpet?
yes,
Okay, thank you.
The Psychology of Christian Personality. However, this is a book that you can look at, but this is Dr. Bob's book. Notice that it was signed and scribbled on by his kids. You can look at this one, but this one's one you can touch.
No, I just wanted. Yeah, I'm
You
like.
can touch this one too. In here, he doesn't use a highlighter. He really loves this book. He doesn't use a highlighter, but he does pencil markings in here, and he does a lot of them. And he's highlighting with just a pencil here and a pencil there what's important to him. So what we want to do is go through this book in time and
the
see what the grandkids
kids got to
did.
that one too. Yeah.
But what we want to do for you is like take pictures of what he highlighted and have it like available next to this so we don't have to go through this book.
Would
show
love to.
Yeah,
It's gonna be one of my winter projects.
yeah.
That would be phenomenal, and I can release it on History Lovers, and everybody can get it.
Yep,
Thank you, in advance.
yes. Okay, we'll leave that out so we don't forget. All right. Oh,
Wow.
let's talk about this guy.
Clarence Snyder, quite a character.
You better believe he's quite a character. He actually started AA in Cleveland. And when the book came out, I should keep this out most of the time because I'm always referring to it.
Was it baseball bats or golf clubs? I just don't know.
What?
Was it both?
Oh. So 2 carloads are coming down from Cleveland, right? And they're coming down, and when the book comes out, they stop coming down. And they break away in May. So April, the book comes out. May, Cleveland stops coming down. And Clarence starts his meeting. And he takes the 2 A's off this book, and he said, we'll call our group AA. And now he's gone for the rest of his life claiming that he was the founder of AA. And I don't
Technically, he was the founder of the first meeting called AA, but he's not the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous. But don't tell him that.
Well, to avoid and stay positive about Clarence.
Okay.
Now the reason why that's so funny
In
is
other words, don't let me talk about it.
old timers would say that he would come down from Cleveland to go to King's School Group number 1. He would come in and scream, AA started in Cleveland, and then he'd run out.
Yeah.
And in Nell's book, they said they would have made him a tri-founder, but he was just too obnoxious. And what the thing is, in 1939, Eldrick Davis comes out with a series of newspaper articles in Cleveland.
And the Plain Dealer, that was the name of it still is the name of the Cleveland newspaper.
Right. And they had a dozen guys sober, and a couple hundred guys came in. Now I want you to picture yourself being in a very small AA group of a couple members, no more than a dozen. When a couple hundred people come in, what do you do? What do you do?
Hey, yeah, well,
Well,
he
you
was
know-
also meant to debunk this, and when he saw what they were doing, he was like, wow, this is awesome, and he wrote that series of positive articles, even though he was hired to be not so nice.
So what they did is they started beginner classes.
Yeah.
The Little Red Book came from beginner classes because at that time, AA's really pretty much growing and they can't manage sponsorship. So they did the beginner classes and Dorothy Snyder helped as well. So I talk about him being the father of sponsorship. This is the first pamphlet, it's a very rare pamphlet that came out that Clarence wrote on sponsorship. So rather than being the founder of AA, I always like to talk about him being the father of sponsorship.
A PDF of that is available on History Lovers. You can go in the file section and find it. Just search for it.
So 2 books, how it worked. This one's the first version that came out. You can get a better version of it actually in a reprint with added material
Slightly
from
expanded.
Mitch K. Plug for Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch did a great job on both, but the second edition is huge. The first
easier.
edition is available for free.
It was. Is it still?
It's still out floating around.
Oh, it's still
Nobody
available for
cares
free.
if, yeah.
But these are rare. This one's rare.
Right.
But
the
not the-
PDF version, the digital version, is on History Lovers, and they don't have any problem with this one being distributed, but they would like you to please buy that one because they need to, pay the bills. It was expensive to make.
Now, Clarence wasn't very fond of Bill. Bad-mouthed Bill quite a bit. Painfully so. Painfully.
Yeah.
But what I think is beautiful is that we have no record of Bill bad-mouthing Clarence. What a teacher Bill was.
Mm-hmm.
What a teacher. And in this book was signed to Clarence by Bill and Lois.
Dear Clarence, for
That's a big book.
your recovery in AA,
Me.
my deep gratitude ever. Bill and Lois. 6, 12, 60, looks like 68.
65?
65. Yeah. That's a 5, right?
Yeah, I thought it was 65.
6'5". Yeah.
I'm voting for 5.
And it's funny that he uses AA.
Second.
For your recovery in AA. My deep gratitude.
Not alcoholism.
Maybe it was a little Bill's way of being a little slick in there.
I don't know, but that's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, are we having fun yet?
We're
We're
loving
blast.
Okay, we're going to C.
All right.
Now, the books on top is kind of there's a lot of books on mysticism. So a lot of books that didn't fit into the category that I put up there. Some novels. Thomas Carlyle, I think, is a mystic, but I have to do more work on him.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to show you is we were talking about the Akron pamphlets. And I've always been amazed at this second reader. Because in the second reader, commissioned by Bob in the 40s, look, your big book is not conference approved. These are called can openers.
It's true.
And so they're all over the country. They're writing their own literature. This is Akron's. And in it was these 4 crosses. We call them the AA cross. When you're out partying and you're playing, look how much time you're giving to play. And you're kind of cheating your job and your home life and maybe your church or whatever. You're kind of cheating, right? Because that's what we do. And then we come into AA and look where we go. Now we're doing all AA and we're neglecting the wife and
Pendulum
maybe
swings the other
then
way.
we're swinging, replacing the partying with AA. And what you want to do is try to get things a little more in balance. And this is a wonderful reader. It was like for people, when you're brand new and everybody's fussing over you and you're the new guy, and then at some point that all wears off, and now what? And so this pamphlet has to do with what happens in the second phase.
A rudimentary living sober,
Now,
in a way.
again, these books talk to me. So when I researched what Bob actually had in his library, some of it got sold to Brown before Sue's daughter, before his daughter dies, she sells, 300 books went to Brown. This is one of the books. And when it came in, I found where he got it from.
Right here.
Right here.
On the
Right
cover,
here.
even.
Ooh.
That's wild.
Teaching, teaching, teaching.
That's right.
All right, we know about James Allen, so we had about 10 pamphlets that went to Brown on James Allen.
Mm-hmm.
That was important. We know about Glenn Clark. You can chime
I
in on that.
love Glenn Clark. I mean, he was extremely popular back then. He wrote Soul Sincere Desire, which I think is best work. Also one of his most popular shorter works like Fishers of Men. I mean, there's just so many. He was prolific. Very prolific. He wrote a lot of short articles that are floating around, and he's just
he was.
fantastic. Fantastic.
I think he had a retreat thing too. I'll talk to you about that. So now,
I want to get into it.
right today, you're all probably sitting with a cell phone close by. Your iPad may be near, maybe your computer, but we didn't even have television back then. What they were doing was reading and writing, apparently, because this guy, Fosdick is the Riverside Church, and it's the Rockefeller's minister, where they put the money in the Rockefeller Church. And Harry Emerson Fosdick wrote the first Big Book review in the New York Times.
It's still mentioned in the appendices.
Right. Now, Bill wasn't the reader, but Dr. Bob really was. And here's the Fox literature here. How about Aldous Huxley and Herd? How about that?
Yep.
That has a little to do with the
rabbit hole.
Yeah, there's a rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm. I should do a whole talk on him.
How about Earl Stanley Jones?
You know more than I do.
Well, if anybody wants to go on the web, the grandchildren have taken over and reproduced a lot of his books. Earl Stanley Jones would be a big favorite of Bob and Ann. Again, we're talking about Ann Smith's workbook. Earl Stanley Jones is in there. Also, Kagawa, I'm not sure which way, but Ann loved him.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about Ann Smith as well. I mean, she
was critical to this whole thing.
She sure was. She's the mother of AA.
Absolutely.
Mother of AA.
Absolutely. She doesn't get enough credit either, which I'm glad we got to do those talks on her
Yes.
last few months.
We did.
We should do more.
Bishop Sheen is here because Bishop Sheen was something that Bob knew about because Bill had studied under Bishop Sheen and was even thinking of becoming Catholic. And then decided not to do that. It would certainly have affected AA.
Yeah, because it would have almost felt, I think it would have almost felt like he was choosing sides and, staying more non-denominational.
I think he made sacrifices for the good of the whole. Does that sound like a tradition to you?
Yeah. Like all 12 of them.
Here's Shoemaker. Now, some of them are written by Helen Shoemaker. Helen Shoemaker was the wife, and she wrote, and then he wrote, according to his daughter, who I met in Vancouver. Her name's Nikki, and Nikki shared some things with me, and one of the things she shared with me was my father wrote a book a year. And the one his wife, Helen, wrote, sometimes if I feel so moved, and I'll ask people if they've ever heard of I Stand by the Door. If you've not read I Stand by the Door.
I have not read that book. I should.
You should.
Yes.
She should read the poem for your audience.
That would be fantastic.
Really?
Please.
Yes.
Where's my glasses?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here.
Oh, okay. If you don't mind.
We don't mind.
Please.
We love this
Let's
stuff.
sit for a minute and read the poem, and then we'll get back up in.
Yeah, I would, with an audience of rabbits, I think the rabbits should hear this, all right? Again, it's his poem, but it's in the book, I Stand by the Door. The Life, this is the history of Sam Shoemaker by his wife.
Okay.
Who would know?
Okay. I stand by the door. I neither go too far in nor stay too far out. The door is the most important door in the world. It is the door through which men walk when they find God. There's no use my going way inside and standing there when so many are still outside, and they, as much as I, crave to know where the door is. And all that so many ever find is only the wall where the door ought to be. They creep along the wall like blind men, with outstretched, groping hands, feeling for a door, knowing there must be a door. Yet they never find it. So I stand by the door. The most tremendous thing in the world is for men to find that door, the door to God. The most important thing any man can do is to take hold of one of those blind, groping hands and put it on the latch. The latch that only clicks and opens to the man's own touch. Men die outside that door as starving beggars die on cold nights in cruel cities in the dead of winter. Die for one of what is within their grasp. They live on the other side of it, live because they have not found it. Nothing else matters compared to helping them find it and open it and walk in and find him. So I stand by the door. Go in, great saints. Go all the way in. Go way down into the cavernous cellars and way up into the spacious attics. It is a vast, roomy house, this house where God is. Go into the deepest of hidden casements, of withdrawal, of silence, of sainthood. Some must inhabit those inner rooms and know the depths and heights of God. And call outside to the rest of us how wonderful it is. Sometimes I take a deeper look in, sometimes venture in a little further, but my place seems closer to the opening, so I stand by the door. There is another reason why I stand there. Some people get partway in and become afraid, lest God and the zeal of the house devour him. Lest God and the zeal of the house devour them. For God is so very great and asks all of us. And these people feel a cosmic claustrophobia and want to get out. Let me out, they cry. And the people way inside only terrify them more. Somebody must be by the door to tell them that they are spoiled for this old life. They have seen too much. Once taste God, and nothing but God will do anymore. Mm-hmm. Somebody must be watching for the frightened who seek to sneak out just where they came in. To tell them how much better it is inside. The people too far in do not see how near they are to leaving. Preoccupied with the wonder of it all, somebody must watch for those who have entered the door, but would like to run away. So for them too, I stand by the door. I admire the people who go way in, but I wish they would not forget how it was before they got in. Then they would be able to help the people who have not yet even found the door, or the people who want to run away again from God. You can go in too deeply and stay in too long and forget the people outside the door. As for me, whoa, I shall take my old accustomed place, near enough to God to hear him and know he is there, but not so far from men to not hear them. And remember, they are there too. Where? Outside the door. Thousands of them, millions of them. But more important for me, one of them, two of them, 10 of them, whose hands I am intended to put on the latch. For I shall stand by the door and wait for those who seek it. I had rather be a doorkeeper, so I stand by the door. You've
Wow.
just met Sam Shoemaker.
It's kind of like why we have to be reminded of steps 1 and 2 from other people by staying green. Otherwise, we're going to remind ourselves because we're going to forget what it was like. And
Yes.
if we don't stand by the door and we don't help other people, then we're just as selfish as the day we got here. And therefore, we have to be It's like what the book says, we have to keep our head in the clouds, but our feet firmly planted on earth. I think it's all of that and so much more. What a powerful poem.
No, I'm glad.
just
Thank
kicked
you
my
for the
butt.
suggestion.
Thank
Well,
you.
we don't want to get so heavenly good, we're no earthly good. The old timers used to say that to me when I was having my spiritual
Yeah.
experiences, and you know,
It's
and
about
they
the
would say
balance
that.
you just showed us, and
I'm so glad I could share that with everyone.
thank you.
I do that often, depending on the groups that are here, that sometimes we just do that. It's a choice. I'm just gonna, Spears here,
Yeah,
Spears here.
wow, okay. Okay.
Now, let's
Wow.
go to E. We're going to E. We're going to E. How y'all doing? Y'all?
Oh, man. Yeah, no,
We're all
that was nice.
teary-eyed now, feeling all spiritual. It's all great.
What I want to share with you is something most
Love
people
it.
don't know. These books have been hidden from us. There was a man by the name of Dick B. who wrote a beautiful index called Dr. Bob's Library.
Yeah.
I have a copy of that here, and I've marked every book. We have every book in his book. But before the daughter died, Dr. Bob will die in 1950, following Ann, who died in 49. The kids get the house, and in 52, they're going to sell it, and they're going to divide the holdings. Sue's going to get half the books. Smitty got half of them. I think they divided the rectal equipment and everything. But the rectal
The
equipment,
forceps and
the rectal equipment, that's brown. So I was doing some research because I was asked to speak at a place called Lilydale. That's a spiritualist camp near Chautauqua. Now, Bob and Ann went to Lilydale, so it was pretty special. And I was asked along with Sally. And of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about some esoteric material. Bill wrote to Mel B, and in a letter he said that Bill wasn't the reader that Bob was. And he said Bob had quite an extensive library of spiritual and psychic material. Well, lo and behold, the books that have kind of taken a back seat here were at Brown. And I began to do research, and it blew me away. I did not know this about Bob. I had been led to believe he was almost a fundamentalist, which isn't true at all. I found out that he is scientific. He was a doctor. If you look at Sermon on the Mount, that's scientific law. That's natural law coming from Henry Drummond. It's about spiritual law, but there's other dimensions. We have the third dimension. Bill talked about the fourth dimension. These are kind of in the area of fourth dimension books. These were books that were on spiritualism and theosophy and channeled information from William James. I'm going to give you an example of a book that a friend of mine, Jay, sent me about a book Dr. Bob was reading. That book was called Thy Kingdom Come. And he sent this book to Bill Wilson. And he said, I've been reading these books on the White Brotherhood, and I want you to read it. He said, I'm sending it to you, and don't wait 6 months to get back to me. So I'm
Sounds
thinking,
like Jay, if it's the Jay I'm thinking of.
yeah, it's the same one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So all these books in here, we know Dr. Bob had them, and we know he read a lot of them. But when I find out in a letter that Dr. Bob actually read this, I'm going to read it. So I couldn't find it. Could not find it. But I did find it in another name. It was called The Return of Arthur Conan Doyle.
Oh,
Yes.
Sherlock Holmes.
Good for you. He wrote all the Sherlock Holmes books. He also wrote a book that Dr. Bob had in his library. We know that all these books in E came from, we lost the books to Brown. It broke my heart. But you couldn't touch Dr. Bob's books anyway. Why don't I, through the internet, which is a marvelous tool,
Rebuild.
if there's only one book on the planet, you might be able to find it through Google, right? So
She's good.
She is good.
I found most of them that are at Brown that we could afford. This is called The Vital Message by Arthur Conan Doyle. You see, he became a spiritualist, which means we're working with energy beyond the veil.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he gets over to the other side. Oh, by the way, he and Houdini are running around together. Houdini.
Not coming back and talking like they said they would, but okay.
Well,
At least
maybe.
Houdini isn't.
Not Houdini, but Arthur Conan Doyle did. They're both spiritualists, but they get into this huge fight. He's getting really excited here, folks.
She's getting me wound up.
Gotta get him some
You guys
rabbit.
know how I get when
I'm
I
gonna
get
get
wound
some
up.
rabbit pellets.
Oh yeah.
Okay. These are rabbit pellets.
Well, that depends.
This is a good story. This is a great story. So he and Houdini are running around as spiritualists, and they do a seance, which they were doing here.
Oh yeah.
They did a seance and brought in Houdini's mother. Only she spoke in English. And Houdini flipped out. That can't be my mother. She only spoke in Hebrew. So now he and Arthur Conan Doyle get into it. And now Houdini's angry at Doyle because he thinks Doyle's a fraud and the spiritualism's a fraud.
Well, don't you think though the spirit can talk in any language they want?
I would think so, but tell that to Houdini.
He doesn't listen to me.
So here's a book that Dr. Bob had in his library that goes with this story I'm telling you. If you notice,
for and against psychical belief.
yes.
Okay.
And who's the second person here?
Sir Arthur Conan, I think it's Doyle.
And
I'm just joking.
who's down here?
Harry Houdini at the bottom.
In here is the correspondence between the two of them on this issue I'm talking about. That was also in Dr. Bob's library.
Wow.
When I tell you these books talk to me, they talk to me. So,
A lot of the narrative is that things were happening on the East Coast in terms of this esoteric spiritualist
and England.
and in England.
England.
But it
because-
was also happening in Akron. It was here too. They all were in
Joseph Benner wrote The Impersonal Life. That's the book that Elvis
know
Presley
exactly. I was
had
born
with
in
him. Elvis Presley passed that out to everybody. Benner's from here, and I think he had an influence to
Wow.
Raymond Cassidy on Dr. Bob.
Wow.
Didn't Casey do like 150 readings at the
Yeah,
Cyberland?
yeah, but we're not on, we'll talk about it with Casey in a minute.
Okay.
Getting
Okay, I want to
excited.
finish this one. I want to finish this one. So,
I'm just letting her run because this is blown. My mind's too blown to think of a question. You're really getting me here. This is great.
well, this is an educational library that I want to do. Thank you for filming this so that all the people, welcome, and this is what it's for you. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you why it's for you. Don't let me forget to tell them about the webpage.
But real quick, that is the point, right? This is about more than just Dr. Bob's home now. There's a lot more going on here. And so hopefully this recording is going to just be a gateway to, and this isn't even all of it. There's a lot coming.
So, I did end up finding this book. Very rare. I don't know that another one exists. It took me a long time to find it. And when I got it, it was signed by the author. Now, the author is Ivan Cook. But this book didn't come, Ivan Cook is only the person who wrote it down. You see, his wife is Grace Cook. She's the medium. Houdini didn't come back. Arthur Conan Doyle came back. He said that some of the things he was sharing while he was in the third dimension was not correct. And he wanted to make amends. So he found this woman who could pick up his vibration, and she channeled it, and the husband wrote it down. Interestingly enough, in this book is this. I read it. It's about astral planes.
Oh, wow.
I need to take a photograph of this with the secondary recorder phone
We haven't
because
found
I
it.
can't wait while it's out.
In case you want to put the QR code on there.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Obviously, if you die drunk, you don't go very far.
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
But
my God.
Once you're out of the
these are
shadow,
different planes of consciousness, astral
photograph
planes, and
this.
it gets more beautiful. Each plane gets more and more beautiful.
Shit, this is stuff we were just talking about yesterday, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. I was explaining some
Who
of
knew
this to
Dr.
her.
Bob, right? Who knew? This is not the only book of information like that.
Well, this happens to go along with a talk I did a while ago, if you guys remember, where I did a talk on the occult and spiritualism and some of the other things that they've done, and I only got to barely touch on Akron because of just time constraints. And I told you guys then there was going to be a part 2 of this talk, and little did I know that this is turning into partially part 2. So I guess I'll do part 3 later. There is one, unless she covers everything because she's nailing it. Thank you.
Okay, this book on the top is called Beyond the Veil. And we have books by Joseph Benner up there, which I can tell you about another time. I'm doing research on this in personal life by this fabulous man that was from Akron.
I'd love to know more too.
And Edward
I eagerly
Casey,
wait to-
according to his daughter, Bob was going to have an appointment with Edward Casey, but Edward Casey died before he got the appointment.
Wow.
Now, to give you an example of some books on the shelf, there are 2 on cosmic consciousness. Who knew? Who knew? Next time I'm getting my nails done,
There
if I
you
can play
go.
the Vanna White.
My one nail, a bass player, so.
So most of these books, now what happened is that Theosophists,
Very
with
good
Helen
either.
Blavatsky, they split off from the spiritualists, although both are dealing with spiritual stuff from the other side. Blavatsky takes the Theosophists to India.
Mhm.
Now you've got books on India, a lot of Eastern books here. Secrets of India is here. Masters of the Far East, a couple of those. Bob had those books. Bob's looking at yogis, and he's looking at a lot of Eastern philosophy and lessons coming from India.
And this is where our friend Jay starts to get very
Oh, he gets pretty juiced up.
pick his pick his brain about it.
How about Lemuria?
He'll wind up like this.
The Rosicrucians we were looking at, I think this might be a Rosicrucian book. Remember when we were looking at the titles? Now that came before Atlantis, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
that's what they say. Yes.
whatever, if you want to know who Dr. Bob is or was, come into this library and you can just see one thing for sure. He was so open-minded. And he was everything. I mean, you could say he read the Bible. Yes, he did. He read these Christian books. Yes, he did. But he went beyond. And he was an Oxford group member. He was all that. He was really a seeker, which I think comes from the fact he was a Freemason.
Those narratives in Alcoholics Anonymous and what she just said is very important. He was a Freemason. Come back to that in a second. But what's really important to understand is that there's these popular narratives in Alcoholics Anonymous that simply aren't necessarily that accurate. One of them, popular in some places, to say, well, Dr. Bob carried a big book under one arm and a Bible under the other. No one's talking about the cart of books that he was probably dragging behind him too.
There were books all over the house, piles and stacks of books.
A big library, and it was
Yes.
a lot more than just those 2 books. That's the point I believe she's trying to make here.
Well, you can come and visit and make your own point. This is a book on chakras, which I love to highlight because everyone kind of is into them now, and we talk about them now.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful book by Leadbeater, who was a theosophist. And it's just got beautiful, I'll see if there's a really pretty picture in here for you. Beautiful book. Yeah, right?
Oh yeah, the
Like
pictures.
things like that are in it.
Yeah.
It's just really beautiful.
Brow
Okay.
chakra would be thought and
All right, now we need a drum roll. Da, 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 da. All right, so my friend Jay found out from Stepping Stones that this was, I don't know what this is called, pendulum, something.
planchette.
Oh, planchette. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This was a planchette that they found at Stepping Stones. You know there's a spook room at Stepping Stones. And Bill was very good at spooking. And what he could do is he could take a Ouija board, and he actually brought down a whole sermon from St. Boniface, and I have that on a tape that Nell told me about. Because the Rockefellers
Wait,
were
you
they were
have one?
spooking too.
Because we're hoping maybe when we go through those wires.
It's a real little tiny one.
We're hoping when we go. We're hoping when we go through those wire recordings that maybe they recorded one, and also I've got his discs now. Maybe there's something on there. That's what we're looking for.
Well,
If
she
I
told-
find something like that, you're gonna know about it. Like
Okay, that'll be
within
fun.
5
It's
minutes.
going to be fun.
Yeah.
So he did. He was St. Boniface that he was in touch with, and Bill considered himself a psychic and a medium. And so when they found this, Jay got excited, And he said, oh my God, we now know which board it was.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent us one, and he sent one to Stepping Stones. So this is the board that Bill was using. And most likely the
exact
one,
board, but it's the model and design.
I think it's the same period too.
Yeah, same period.
So it would be the same board, but not the original.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know if can you read
Pretty
this?
awesome.
Do you want to read what it says here?
I'd be happy to.
I think
Thank you.
the audience rabbits would love that.
She got this. You got this in Vancouver.
Stepping Stones, Sally at Stepping Stones presented it to me, yes.
In Vancouver at the International. It says presented to Dr. Bob's Home, Ohio by the Stepping Stones Foundation, New York on July 3rd, 2025. And it's a letter dated June 1, 1943. Dear Smitty, hope you got that magic tray. Enclose your check herewith. Have a tray on me. I'm sorry I can't get to your anniversary. Bobby and I.
Bobby Burger.
Wow, I was like that. Bobby Burger and I. It's just this Bobby though. And I suddenly decided to take a trip, beginning with the Chicago group, Harold Treat and Company, swinging through Minneapolis and ending in Indianapolis. It can be barely squeezed in between some other engagements, so can't get to see you this time. I decided to do this now because it will help lighten the fall trip a lot, but neither Bobby nor I can leave until Saturday p.m. That's the rut. Gee, but it was grand to see you and Annie. Happy anniversary, Smith, quote, S-M-I-T, end quote, and many more. From the Stepping Stones Archive, William G. Wilson Collection.
How about that?
What an amazing gift from Sally.
We don't know that Bob ever used it, but we know Bill sent it. So that's as far as we got. I do know they were doing seances. I knew there was some ectoplasm where Roland Jones grew a beard.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's some information on all of that in the E for esoteric section
And
of
I've
this
told you about
library.
ectoplasm before. We
Yeah.
talked about it. We can find it for
They
her.
say that Roland Jones could stop a rabbit in full flight and could change the direction of a stream. And he was part of, we didn't have spookers, we didn't call them spookers here, but there was a core group of people that were involved in doing some of these seances that were going on here. And healing. There was healing going on here as well.
What's interesting is that Mike Fitzpatrick's recovery speakers, the tape library he got, the Northeast Tape Library that we're going to go through and digitize. I'm going to help with that. And the wire recordings and these acetates that I'm going to try to get done before the end of September, right? There's, I think, 31 discs total. We don't know what's on them. So it is highly possible that there could be at least some mention of some of this on any one of these wires, especially because they're all unlabeled. Whole box full of them.
That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, so this is fun.
That's a rabbit hole.
You never know. Something
Very
might
exciting.
come to light soon.
We just talked about Bobby.
Mike.
We're moving over to something that we're
Gary's book.
extending.
Yeah.
We're extending Dr. Bob's library into some research, mainly because I had a lot of books I didn't know what to do with them. I thought, why don't I share them with the people that would come in to bring some of the things more to life? Like this, for example. Bobby did come to Dr. Bob's funeral, by the way, but who's Bobby Burger? Most people never heard of Bobby Burger.
She was instrumental.
We didn't know because we didn't know. No one talked about Bobby, and really nobody wanted us to talk about Bobby. There was two things going on. So we just knew about Ruth Hawk, and then we knew that Bobby had come in, and that was at the time of the Saturday Evening Post in 41, and that poor girl, can you imagine? There were 6,000 inquiries that came in to the office.
She answered every single one of them.
And Bill was not in the office. I would have to say that that's a window into the 40s where Bobby was Bill Wilson. She was Gal Friday, but she was carrying on.
I would agree. She was holding up the fort like
Right.
by herself, practically. Not literally.
One other typist was in there with her. I forget her name. Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
were two
So
of
she
them.
wasn't
I
alone.
forget
Still,
her name.
that's crazy.
It's very crazy.
Yeah.
So nobody never talked about Bobby. She just kind of disappeared from our history until our friend Gary came along. And
Met Gary a couple months ago. He did a talk for us.
yeah, Gary ended up inheriting. Now the daughters did not want the book written, but the granddaughters did. And he ended up being able to track down enough material to put pictures in and to write a pretty thick book on a woman who had disappeared from our history. Mm-hmm. She was a dancer. Ooh. She used to dance before kings and queens and presidents. She was a very sharp gal. Mm-hmm. But she was a really sick gal. She ended up in a lot of asylums and kind of a wild story. But there was no cure for alcoholism at that time. But she ended up finding Alcoholics Anonymous when there was no women sober except for Bobby. Not Bobby, for Marty Mann. And but she ended up becoming the national secretary of the General Service Office. And her letters, now we have emails and stuff. We don't get the letters that both Ruth and Bobby wrote that were incredibly beautiful letters. And she ended up, I was in Australia and New Zealand, and this is the history book of Australia and New Zealand. And in here are these beautiful letters from Bobby. And I said, would it be fair to say that Bobby Berger sponsored your countries? And they said yes. And if you were to read this book, you would see. She taught them traditions. She sent them literature. She instructed them through the mail on how to do Alcoholics Anonymous.
I have friends in Australia, and they, to a T, give Bobby all the credit.
Right.
And she deserves it.
Well, for holding the office open. Well,
Yep.
I'm not sure about this, but it seems to me that
Contact.
rotation came in. Mm-hmm. And when rotation came in, Bobby lost her position as the national secretary. And she eventually leaves the office, and she did relapse. And sadly, in the very, very end, she took her life. Yeah. But that is no reason for us not to be grateful for the 40s, what she did. And I'm glad we've gone past that ending of hers into bringing her out and giving her, being a woman, knowing that there was a woman there doing all that work, and being Bill Wilson and traveling with Bill. And the Christmas cards that came out had Bobby's name on it. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah.
Many, many other books have been written now. And we have a very big collection. When I first started, I got to tell you this, guys, just so you can appreciate. I'm 47 years sober, so when I started, I didn't know about AA, and here I am in Akron. I didn't even know the history of Akron. And I got a paperback book from Bill's biographer. And Robert Thompson wrote a book on Bill W., and I read it. And I went, oh my God, this thing I love so much started in my hometown. And I drank because of the cloudy days in Akron. Now I'm proud of my hometown because it's the birthplace of AA. And I decided to drive by Dr. Bob's house. Now at that time, there was just drunks on the porch or different people over a period of time. But this particular day, a young college student had bought the house, and he was out front, and I gave him my card. And I said, if you as much as remove a doorbell from this house, please call me, I'll come pick it up. It always bothered me. Not that I wanted to own Dr. Bob's house. I thought about it, but I would probably not stay sober in that position. That is way too heady. In fact, I even called up the owner of the house one time, and the name of the guy that owned the house was O.D. That's who owned the house at one time.
Whoa.
Anyway, I say this to say this to you. I'm putting this book back. These are all the biographies that have come out on Bill Wilson alone. We only have one on Dr. Bob called Dr. Bob the Little
and Bob, unfortunately, may he rest in peace, passed away recently.
Uh-huh. The author of this book?
Bill.
I don't know much about that.
Yeah, Bob K. He.
Okay.
Yeah,
was
Bob
he doing
Kennedy.
AA agnostic? Was he on Agnostica?
No, he wrote.
Okay.
What is it? Oh, come on, Tom. He wrote the key. book.
Oh, I've seen it. It's got different, the author, different people in it.
Key members and names. I just can't remember the exact title. He wrote that in one other book.
I don't think I have it. I don't think we
I'm in a
have it.
brain.
We'll have to get it. Here's a fun one.
Jeez.
We have a grave digger here. His name's Greg W. He has gone to all the graves of the first 100 and some of the key players. And I think you can see here the graves. Wait a minute. Oh, yep. Some of it is missing. He's still looking. Now, let me tell you where this is going. Where this is going now is we have quite a few, well, 3/5 of the stories that went into the first edition Big Book came from Akron. Mm-hmm. So now we have their graves in here, and we take their stories and we hold meetings at their grave and we read their stories. We go to Bill Dotson's grave, we go to Ethel Macy's grave. I know that different people are now honoring those people that went before us because of this little book that tells us, and we're learning about the families. We're learning a whole lot from this. So it's kind of a fun little book that came out recently. Another book that's come out recently is on the marriage of A Marriage That Changed the World by Tom Adams and Joy Jones. This is a very recent one within the last year. Bob and Ann are in this book. But the research library here is really taking off because I think our love of history is taking off. The further we get away from those old timers, Tom, don't you wish you could have a drink with them today? Not a drink of coffee. A coffee. A coffee. I miss being able to ask them the questions I now know to ask because when they were living, I didn't know the questions.
I would be so grateful I would even drink decaf. Seriously. Just a little bit about Bob K. real quick. The books he wrote were Key Players in AA History, The Secret Diaries of Bill W., and he wrote Daily Reflections for Modern 12-Step Recovery, which is a agnostic, atheist version.
I told you he was.
So, no, you had it. It's just we didn't have the names on.
I thought he was there.
And he deserves mention because he passed away on August 11th. And he was also a member of AA History Lovers, and boy, was he a member of AA History Lovers. I loved moderating him. No, he would challenge me, and I would moderate him.
Here's a fabulous. Well, you know, Earl Treat came to Akron and was sponsored by Dr. Bob. And then Sylvia Coffin came to Akron, and her story is Keys to the Kingdom. And Sylvia was beautiful, and she came with her secretary, Grace Coltis. And she wanted to move to Akron, and that really shook Bob up. Bob did not want her moving to Akron. She was rich and beautiful and divorced. And, right?
No, recipe for disaster.
Yeah, they sent her
He
up.
remembered what happened on his desk, put it that way. Sorry, I had to say
The 13th step?
Yeah.
The first 13th step that occurred in Dr. Bob's office.
Yeah.
Lil and the mayor got into it on the operating table, and we had to send somebody up to fetch him.
Yeah.
And she grabbed a bunch of pills and tried to throw herself out the window.
Yeah.
And as a direct result, ladies, that set us back. Dr. Bob would not work with women.
Yep.
First 13, and Sister Ignatia did not work with women.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lil.
But you told the story, not me. I was being respectful.
Anyway, this is a book about Earl and about Sylvia.
This is fantastic.
This book.
Chicago put this out. This is amazing. So you can get it from Chicago Intergroup.
Yes.
This is fantastic.
I mean, Chicago
they have their own
was
literature.
early
They have
AA.
some of their own pamphlets.
A lot of them, yes.
Yeah.
We have them all. I have a whole history of pamphlets over there.
5 of them. I don't have them all, but
If you ever want to know more about pamphlets, come to the Akron Intergroup office. Whole shelf. I just finished it.
I think I
We
will.
have them all. No, I'm serious.
No,
Come back.
I mean, not think.
Yeah.
I will.
Next year, huh?
Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm coming next
Real
time.
quick, background of this. Earl Treat, obviously the co-founder of AA in Chicago. His story in the back of the book is...
Earl Tree?
Yes.
It wasn't he had to be shown. Yeah, it was the other one.
He sold himself
He
short?
sold himself short.
Right. So that's in all
That was
4
Dick Bass
editions
was the
as well,
edition.
or correct?
Yeah, that one's in all
Stanley.
4 editions.
It's still there. All
Yeah,
right.
it's still there.
So,
No, this is
But
just so you guys know why
Stanley's
this is so
story,
important.
He had to be shown was removed in the 4th edition. Dick and Paul Stanley, they were brothers.
Right.
Dick
Very
Stanley's
early
story
ones.
is one of the best stories in the book, I think, in terms of like, you know, the formaldehyde. Now they used to do 12 steps back then. They were really serious about it. But that's another topic for another day.
And so I'm not going to go through every book that's here, but
Ah.
that's just a little sampling.
No, you'll have to come and
We've gone on. Oh, very important. Ding, 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 ding,
Tour the
ding, ding,
house.
ding, ding, ding.
see the library.
Go to Dr. Bob's house online. Scroll up at the top. There'll be a menu bar. Okay,
There you go.
very good.
Exclusive preview of the
Yeah,
bookmark
come in
Gail and I
closer.
are working
Come
on.
in
That
real
QR code
close.
will take you right to Dr. Bob's home.
So screenshot that QR code.
Don't
you
know how to
guys.
do it without the light in there.
Okay, here.
Okay, thank you. Oh, there you guys go.
Now
Look at that.
screenshot that you can go ahead and screenshot, you guys. And then go to that QR code, okay?
All right, you got that, Lauren.
And the reason that we're doing that is because most of this library, not necessarily the research, although there may be some on Glen Chestnut coming up for you.
Yeah, and history lovers, if there is any research we can get a
Right.
hold of, you know we're going to post it. But
Well, we
as long
want
as
to
we have permission.
we want to take this library into your living room. So if you go to the top of the menu bar on our webpage, and you see library up there, click on it and scroll down and put your name and email in, and you can enter into the database of the library. And we are adding PDFs to that. And if you want to explore before we get there, we want to go onto YouTube. There's audio recordings of these books, and there's all kinds of bio information. And as we have people to help us, we will try and add so that there will be an online library for those of you that may not make it to Akron in the near future. So,
And
God
I'm going to help
bless
them
what you
find
guys are
some of
doing.
the PDFs. I'm committing to it here right now of some of the books that they don't have PDF copies of yet. I happen to be. I can find things.
yep.
So.
We want everyone to be able to educate themselves. Those, especially the guys in the rabbit hole. A lot of our fellowship probably doesn't want to go in as deep as you guys go, but for you guys that are in the rabbit hole, this is really for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure being able to share this with my friends here.
Thank
It's
you
so fun.
for doing this. I mean, I
It
bet you
was
didn't
so
expect
fun.
this to happen.
No,
today.
I am
Neither
not
were
dressed
you.
for it. I was supposed to be
Look
at the
at
office.
me. Wearing
Yeah.
my spiritualized shirt and
Yeah.
you got.
But-
We went to the fair and
Jeans.
I'm all faired up. But thank you
You're welcome.
and thank you.
Oh, I
Staying
can't do it
silent.
without. Listen, this is a big job. It's a big job, and it can be really lonely if you don't have anyone helping you. And if you know that word God sends, I'm down on my knees
God
going,
send, yeah.
yeah. And God, if you want me to keep going here, you need to send somebody. And she was here at Founders Day, and she's been with me ever since. And
Thank you.
yeah,
Well, thank you guys. I mean, it's so important that we preserve the history and that people can access it that aren't able to come in here. So it's so perfect that you guys walked in here talking about doing the things that we're trying to get done. So it's what do you call it? Slender threads?
Serendipity, slender threads,
Yeah.
sheer luck,
yeah.
Family.
or me.
Family,
it's a
it's
good one.
definitely, well, like-mindedness.
Family's a good word.
Tribal. In this case, there's a big tribe, AA, but this is tribal within AA.
You bet.
Oh,
Tribal,
absolutely.
the history lover people. Yeah, and
It's more important than ever to, because it's getting harder and harder and harder to go further and further and further back. I mean, as time marches on, things happen. Even archives that do still exist are aging, especially media, like recordings, things like that. I mean, if we don't get the reels and the wires transferred soon, when can we? And those acetates I have, I'm extremely terrified of each and every one of them because I have to literally research every single one of them, find out what it was cut with, what type of material this is, this type of disc, because they're so different from all the different eras. And I may only get one shot at it because of how fragile they are. And if I miss
They
that,
also recorded on glass records, didn't they?
yeah.
I think there's a.
And if I miss that shot, gone. You know, so
It's in God's hands.
it is in God's
And,
hands.
you know,
so,
I have a motto. My motto is, more got done than if nobody had done anything at all.
there you go.
And you have to use that motto because we spin a lot of plates.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them fall on our heads sometimes, but more got done than if we hadn't tried to do anything at all.
So when you come to Dr. Bob's home, and you should, there's more than just the tour. And I'm not berating the tour or saying just the tour in a negative way. What I'm saying is, this is growing, and there's so much to see, but also that means there's more to do. And they need more volunteers, and they need more help. And you don't have to be in Akron in order to volunteer. There's all kinds of things. If you could just help them research things, if you've got the time to sit there and Google all day, that's helpful. Anything is helpful. Just call and say, what can I do, if anything? And maybe there's something that you can do, okay? We all have to be involved because AA is a team sport, and Archives is really a team.
Carries the message. Archives carries the message. And for your information, for those of you that may have never been here, we have 3 homes. All 3 homes are 100 years old. They're well loved and cared for. Of course, there's Dr. Bob's home, and we try to make it like they just walked out and went to a meeting, so you'll have an experience there. There's a museum next to Dr. Bob's house, and it has some beautiful things in there. And we also have a gift store. And then the 3rd house was once on property that belonged to Dr. Bob and Ann, but they got sold and a house got built. And when it came up for sale a couple years ago, we nabbed it to protect Dr. Bob's house. And now you would come in here and you would have the education. We call it the Awe Center for Archives, Welcoming, and Education.
So this is that home.
Yeah.
That's why when I started,
3
I
homes.
said, we're not at Dr. Bob's home, we're next door. But we still are at Dr. Bob's home. I mean, this is a campus now.
The campus.
It's a campus, and come see it.
Okay.